everyone, welcome back to another exciting episode of Attack Productions. Today I have Bancroft joined again by Jimmy and Fluff.
Yes.
What's going on, beautiful people?
And today we're going to talk about the cards that practically blew up the community yesterday, the new red releases, and their fun interactions with battles. So we got the leader, Son Goku Vegeta. Permanent, you can't use, you can use your mono red rest mode Saiyan cards as combos, which is pretty cool. Auto once per turn, when you use a card in a combo, look up to 3 of your cards on top of your deck, add up to 1 red Saiyan card, or 1 Unison with a specific cost of 2 among them to your hand, and place the remaining cards at the bottom of your deck in any order. Awakens when you have 4 or less life, or you have 2 or more energy in both Son Goku GT and Vegeta GT cards in your Z energy. You may draw 1 card, switch to 1 energy to active mode, and add cards from your hand. From your life to your hand, you have 6. Before I flip this card over, just want to point out the auto doesn't specify whose turn, so you get that search on your turn and on your opponent's turn as well.
Yep,
which is phenomenal.
Yeah, it's I actually like the front side of this card a lot. Obviously, you want to get Awakened, but this card seems to attract a lot of value for being on its front side. And it really is encouraging that combo Z energy mechanic based on the reward for comboing here.
I think it does limit the deck a little bit because you don't get a just inherent draw. You're having to put Saiyans or red Unison, but you get the choice of those red Saiyans. I think this deck is going to be built very similar to something like the GT Spaceship deck, where you are mainly running Saiyans, and of course those Saiyans are going to be going in different places, I assume, with this deck. I don't think you're going to be hoarding a lot of them in your hand. They're going to be hitting the combo area or being used for fusion fodder. Of course, we've only seen a limited amount of cards from this archetype, but it's already like one of the most interesting archetypes that we have seen in this game probably ever, in my opinion.
Once you've awakened, you become SS4 Son Goku and SS4 Vegeta in it together. Permanent where you can combo your mono red Saiyan cards in rest mode. Secondary permanent, which is crazy. Your Goku GT cards can attack your opponent's battle cards in active mode. And when Gogeta GT cards attack your opponent's battle cards, your opponent skips their defensive step. Once per turn, when you activate Union Fusion, this card gains Gogeta GT for the turn, which works for itself. When this card attacks, draw 1, then play up to 1 red Saiyan card with energy cost of 1 from your hand in rest mode. So a lot there to that leader. I definitely had to pause on the permit because that alone is incredible. Now, we've only seen 1 Goku GT card so far for this set, and there's actually only been 1 other Gogeta GT card printed, and that was a secret rare. So I'm really curious what everyone's going to get. But overall, this is a phenomenal leader. Seems a little strong, but I don't think it's going to be as strong as I expect it to be.
There's a lot to unpack in this leader and a lot going on with it. You know, we've basically got 3 different things happening. You've got the combo with a rest mode mono red card. You've got the permanent where your Gogeta GT cards can attack battle cards in active mode. Then your opponent skips their defensive step. So basically, if you attack and you're winning that attack, you're going to KO battle cards. And then we've also got the Union Fusion thing where when you use Fusion, your leader now counts as a Gogeta GT as well. So
if I'm not mistaken, I think this is the first time we've ever seen a card, or specifically a leader card, or any card that gains a character.
Yeah, this is the first time that we've ever seen that.
Yeah, which is very interesting, and I'm very excited to see where this will affect. I'm sure there's going to be cards that says choose one of your Gogeta GT cards, and it does X, Y, Z, whatever. I think it's really, really cool flavor. I love being able to attack battle cards in active mode. I think that's a very underrated trait. A similar GT card in the same vein, Chain Attack Trunks. One of the strongest parts about that card is that can it attack cards in active mode, which a lot of people forget about because most times just getting blown out by Zeno if you're still playing it. But I think a lot of Dragon Ball players are not are not aware of how strong that can be against a lot of archetypes.
When you think about archetypes that want to put a like barrier 5,000 battle card for one energy on the field, and then that card is essentially a field manipulator for your opponent. Now with this deck, you're just going to be able to swing over those and kill them. So it already puts decks, and I'm thinking specifically like Vegeta, Trunks, I'm thinking AOD, I'm thinking stuff like that. This is just going to run over those cards, and you already have that inherent advantage against those decks. Like, think about At Will being able to just run over the Babidi against AOD, or being able to run over the Vegeta that your Trunks Vegeta opponent plays and prevents their awaken. Like, it really is going to slow those decks down a lot.
And its on attack auto is fantastic as well. You get your inherent draw, so you're no longer limited to just drawing Saiyans or Unisons. And then you still get to play one drop. So the first thing that comes to my head is just aggro out with like a Saiyan Cabo or a IPT Trunks. Like it
does play them in rest mode, but if it survives, then like, you're gonna have like a Saiyan Cabo or an ITP. Like,
you just slam those. You set on your defensive cards because the deck does have great defense. We'll see later on. Like I feel like this is going to be a very complicated deck. There's going to be very few people that actually want to tackle this and like really crack this leader. But I'm really excited to get some testing in with this because this is the most interesting archetype that I've seen in a very long time.
Going to this deck's Z-Awaken leader, we have SS4 Gogeta, the Ultimate Fusion. Permanent. Keep in mind, when you Z-Awaken, you lose all other abilities. This becomes the new face of the card. So now its new abilities are, you can only include one copy of this card in your Z deck. That's fine. Z-Awaken. Your life is 4 or less, all of your energy is in rest mode, and you skip your charge phase during your next turn. Red Son Goku GT, Vegeta GT, yada yada yada. Before I go any further, I just want to point that out. Skipping your charge phase means you do not draw, you do not untap, you do not charge a card. So you skip all of those during your next turn if you play this card. Permanent. While this card is in battle, you can't activate extra skills or use cards in a combo. At the end of your opponent's turn, you switch this card to active mode and remove it from game. Reason being, if your opponent survives, you still have a leader swing on your follow-up turn. This is a 100,000 power leader. The strongest card, I think, in the game.
This is officially the strongest card that it battle power wise that they've ever released. It's really funny when I was first reading this card when they dropped this morning. I'm reading the leader and I'm like, okay, that's a negative, that's a negative, that's a negative, that's a negative, and it's a 10,000 power leader. Like, who in the fuck would want to play this leader? And I read through it again. I'm like, what am I missing about this? It's 10,000 power. And then it all of a sudden hit me. I was like, holy shit, it's 100,000 power.
This card looked like a joke card that like a new player makes when they get into the game. It's like, oh, it's a shit card, but it has 100,000 power. And this card, like the first time I read it, again, like Fluff said, I was just very dumbfounded by like how bad this is until I got down to that 100,000. And then after I thought about it more and played through scenarios in my head, I was like, this card could actually be like a meta defining card. Maybe I'm going a little too far with that, but I feel like this card can really, really impact a lot of games and a lot of matchups. Bancroft pointed out to me, we talked on the phone earlier, that this is probably a better defensive play than a offensive play. Just due to you having 100,000 power, there's not going to be many decks that can combo over this. The only thing that comes to mind that could really pose a threat to this is Mirror Crater Absorbed, which has gotten more popular, but you still have to do some setup to even deal damage, and that's one attack, saying that you're only overwhelming it and you're not using like Vow to the Creator or something to pull it out. This card's just really, really interesting, and I love the flavor of you're at your pinnacle now. You have 100,000 power. You can't be any stronger, which is what I think you can't combo or you can't charge or draw or anything on your next step. I think it's a fantastic flavor card.
And per that conversation I had with Jimmy, if you use this as defensive play, that means you've already established the next card on board, which is the SS4 Gogeta Triumph them together. It's an 8-drop, but it has Deflect, Triple Strike, Blocker, Union Fusion for 4 red, and you get to draw when you do that as well. Permanent, this card isn't affected by non-Gogeta GT skills, and when this card is in battle, your opponent can't activate non-super combo card skills, and you skip your offensive steps. So when you swing this card, it's a 35,000, boom. But at the start of your charge phase, you place this card in your drop area. If you happen to do the Z-Awaken, you skip your charge phase. Auto, when an opponent's battle card is KO'd by this card's attack, or at the end of the turn you switch this card to rest mode, that is not limited. Means you could just pretty much play 4 energy, draw a card, clear your opponent's board, then go into their lead with a triple strike. If they negate, that's fine, but the attack won't be negated. It's still going through.
This card is pretty much every previous Gogeta SR kind of crammed into one, which is really nice. You have like the shotgun Gogeta of you just keep swinging at your opponent's battle cards and KO them, and paired with the leader, you are going to get to attack cards in active mode. So this is essentially you're clearing the field. This card's attack cannot be negated because it is not affected by non-Gogeta GT skills unless we get a Gogeta GT negate. This card is not negatable, and you're forcing your opponent to raw combo out. Of course, you still get combo skills, but you can't use stuff like the iconic attack rares, stuff of that nature. You're just having to raw combo out of this card. Of course, it's a 35k base, but that's a lot to combo. You do get to keep it if you decide to Z-Awaken, which is great. But still, if this card is going to be setting on the field longer than 1 to 2 turns, I feel like this deck would just be absolutely cracked wide open. And for the Z-Awaken, essentially, if you want to look at it this way, it's essentially a baby hatch for red, because most decks cannot even touch 100,000 on one attack, let alone getting multiple attacks off to kill you if you do it on a defensive step. And nothing's going to KO this card. It's very similar to something like I'm forgetting the name of it, the Divine Presence Goku, the 4-drop, where once it hits the field, you just have to deal with it. There's nothing you can do other than just face it down, deal with the attack, combo out of it, and then try to just survive. Which is really exciting for me because I love the design of that card, and I really love the design of this card as well.
I just realized, I was like, but your leader's not... Oh, your leader gains Gogeta GC, so there you go.
Yeah, I love this card's design. One thing that I'm not a fan of is that you skip your offensive step when this card is in battle, which is fine against the battle cards because your opponent can't swing. And you've also got to think about the threat. If you're tapping 4 to play this guy and then you Z-Awaken, on your next turn, you don't get to untap your 4 energy. You don't get to untap this card unless it's still in active mode from its previous turn.
Yeah. And the way I was thinking it real quick, sorry to cut you off, was when you Z-Awaken, that's 100,000 battle power. You don't block with this card because it will be in active at the end of your turn. So that way, most likely, your opponent will have to pass unless they feel like they can out-combo you.
Yeah.
And then when you pass your turn, you have this card already in active because you never needed to activate the blocker.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really the only thing that I could think of as well.
And one thing to note back on the Z-Awaken leader, it does restand at the end of the turn before it goes to the drop area, so you do get your leader attack as well. So you can still attack with the leader, get a draw, and then play your 1-drop.
Yeah. I will say though, on that following turn, just before we wrap this particular card up, your leader will no longer be Gogeta GT, so you can't swing into active mode anymore because it's not counted as a Gogeta GT card. But still, another triple strike going toward your opponent's leader. I mean, yeah,
a unnegatable triple strike going at your opponent's leader is just this card is bonkers.
I could see this card over the course of 2 turns, 235,000 triple strikes closing out the game. Especially if you're Z-Awakening during one of your leader swings as well. Because like you said, it's like a preemptive baby hatch. You know, you going up to that 100,000, do it offensively. Fuck it. Your opponent can't swing over that in their next turn unless they're giving up every card in their hand. Like, take advantage of that 100,000 on a leader swing.
My thought process was that maybe they'll try to burn a lot of combo power just to do like a double strike on you or something like that. And then you just Z-Awaken, it's like, that did nothing now. But hopefully you're expecting your opponent to do that if you're swinging into them and they're playing this deck against you. I will say this is also the first SR I think we've gotten so far that isn't kind of central to both of the leaders, because obviously it's something to do with Shinran. So, going into the next card, we have SS4 Goku Digging Deep. It's a 20k battle card for 4 energy, but most of the time you're just using this card as a combo piece. So limit 1, if your leader card is red, Goku GT, Vegeta GT card, and your life is 4 or less, when this card is used in a combo from your hand, choose up to 1 of your cards, and it gains 5,000 power for a turn. This is pretty much a Sensu Bean for red, but I have to tap energy or reset energy. It just gives a 5k boost somewhere else. It works really well, especially against, like, if a deck is combo killing, that's fine. The auto still goes off. I'm still giving a 5k boost per turn.
I like the subtle callback to set 4 with Digging Deep Vegeta. Good old Digging Deep. I assume that there's going to be a SS4 Vegeta Digging Deep to go alongside this card. Maybe something like negging your opponent's battle card by 5k for the turn, which might be interesting as well. But I think this is going to be like your key piece of just shoving that into your Z energy early game. Or not early game, but in the later because of the 4 or less life.
I am upset that it's leader restricted, so I can't play in prison, unfortunately.
Oh, yeah, but whatever you say.
Boo.
I did think this was a super combo the first time I read it, saying that it's a 0/0.
I thought it was a super combo when I first read it, too.
I was really interested. I was like, oh, 4 energy 20k super combo. That's going to be interesting. Maybe there's like a way to pull it from the deck and like swing with it or something. No, it's just like, it's fucking whack-ass Sensu Bean.
Yeah.
Going into the next card, we actually have support for the new Pan starter deck, Pan United Emotion. Permanent, if your leader card is Pan, reduce the energy cost of this card in your hand by 2, so it's a 1-drop, which is pretty nice. It's naturally a 15k, which goes great with the Pan leader's auto. But this card's auto, if this card's power is 20,000 or more, when this card attacks, look up to 5 cards from top of your deck, add up to 1 red Saiyan card with energy cost 5 or less, or 1 unison specific cost of 3 among them to your hand and shuffle your deck afterwards. This is also, correct me if I'm not wrong, spaceship support as well, because your leader is a Pan card. So you could pay 1 energy for this 15k Pan and search for a Saiyan card you need to put underneath your GT deck. Or unison.
It could be played in that. More excitedly, though, is that this card as a 1-drop in Pan is going to fetch you a draw off the leader, and then is a relevant 20k battle to get you a surge for something else that you might need later in the game.
This is ideally a turn 1, I think, play for Pan pretty much.
This is an ideal turn 1 play, an ideal turn 2 play. Like, this card is really strong in Pan.
I think just off of stats alone, a 1-drop 20k is fantastic, and it also being able to filter cards into your hand that you're going to want. I see the number 5, and I see Red Saiyan, and I think about power boosting, and the first thing that comes to my mind is Heartfelt Plea. Mm-hmm. I think this boosts the consistency of Heartfelt Plea significantly. And if we keep getting the theme of red power boosting, like you could easily just drop this for 1, put it at 20k, bump it up another 5k with the myriad of plus 5ks in red, and slam Heartfelt on top of it.
The Goku that we just saw.
It won't work with Pan Leader. I mean, it won't work. Yeah, it's restricted.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. But that's the first thing that pops in my head. Of course, we're going to see a lot more. We're going to see a lot more 5-drop Saiyans. But this card is just fantastic. Like, this is just is exactly what Pan needed, and I think the reboot leader is already very strong, and this just bumps it up into, at least in my opinion, it's going to be a meta contender going into this next set.
Absolutely.
So that covers all the red cards that were released yesterday, but there was one more card I wanted to incorporate in this video, just kind of an overall reaction. We're getting a secret rare for set 1, but it is one of the 3 secret rares that will be in the Zenkai Dawn of Z Legends, and that is SSB Kaioken Son Goku United Divinity. Holy crap!
Divinity.
What I think is interesting, and I talking fluff about it, I think this also will be the card secret rare that will get the gold stamp or the gold version of it, just because it's to go back to that first set and whatnot, which I think is pretty cool. So it's kind of weird. We're getting a BT1 card in a set 18, but Ultimate Deflect Triple Attack permit for each card in your opponent's energy. Reduce energy cost of this card in your hand by 3. So at the lowest, you'll pay 2 energy for a secret rare, which I think is phenomenal for Deflect and Triple Attack. You can't place cards on top of this card, so you can't, get those quick what's that, 8-drop Goku.
The Kaiokens.
Yeah, or the Kaiokens, yeah. And in auto, if your opponent has 4 or more energy, when this card is played, you switch all of your mono blue energy to active mode, which I think is amazing. And this is probably, depending on the deck you're playing, the contender for secret rare compared to Hatch now. It gives you an aggressive option instead of a defensive option, which I think is pretty cool. And depending on what you're playing, what deck you're playing, like you're playing SS4 Vegeta, if you're playing potentially even the Beers or something that likes to go high on energy very quickly, imagine expending all that energy, pay to play him, and then restand all that energy and continue going again.
This card is just fantastic, and I love the subtle callback to Godbreak Son Goku from set 1. I really like that subtle callback. I do agree with you. I do think this will probably end up being the God Rare, so we'll have a Vegeta and a Goku. Because the last one was a SSB Vegeta, it would make sense to have a SSB Goku. This is just incredible. I think of cards like Xenobutton, Preface of Recovery, Son Goku. Like, all of these cards have had meta relevance because it can untap a large amount of energy for cheap and let you basically restart your turn. I think this is just as good as a take another turn spell.
Yeah.
I think that this card may get certain cards banned. Specifically, I'm thinking of the SS4 Vegeta. Because
yeah, I was talking to Puff about this one. Oh, yeah, man.
you pay you get to turn 6, you pay your 6 energy for Vegeta, you charge 2 to 4 off the top of your deck, you pay 2, play this guy, restand your whole energy, play another Vegeta, charge another 4. I mean, that puts you up to 14 to 15 energy, I think. Just off the top of my head, kind of going off.
Or draw 4 more cards,
Or draw 4 more cards, draw 8 cards during your turn. Does that sound bad at all? Like,
I mean, quit talking. I'm gonna play this in set 1 beer, so I'm gonna get to 16 energy, and I'm gonna tap him, and I'm gonna win the game.
Yeah. That's exactly what I was gonna do.
It's and I love how cheeky this card is too. Like, it's released in set 18. It's got the throwback to set 1. Even if you look at the name, character traits, and saga, it's very set 1. Like, there's nothing to complain about this card. I absolutely love it.
And we've said in the past that Bandai kind of backed themselves into a corner with Blue Secret Rares because of how strong Baby Hatch is. That there could really never be a Secret Rare printed that's just better than Baby Hatch. But this one really gives a run for the money. Like they
does.
had to print something incredibly strong to
To get people
rival
off
Baby
Hatch.
Hatch.
Yeah.
To get people to move on. And plus with a Baby Hatch reprint, everybody's gonna have it. This is gonna be the new Chase.
Yep.
So while I'm scared of this card, I'm really, really excited to see it like hit the meta, and I want to see how it affects blue decks going forward. Because
agreed.
now blue has a big bomb that it can just slam, and like what else does blue have that's a big bomb other than like grade 8 baby?
Right. Yeah. Right.
Like I absolutely love this card. I'm really excited, and I do want to get it because it looks really pretty, and I want to see it in foil.
Yep, and like I said, it'll probably be the guide rare as well. Just saying. But that covers everything that was revealed yesterday. Hope you all enjoyed the content. Keep in mind, there's buttons down below and on the screen. Click them. They're there for a reason. Fluff, would you lead us out?
Hopefully you guys are enjoying this little mini series that we're going on. If you're not enjoying it, or if you are, let us know in the comments below. As always, read your cards, know your plays. Let us make the mistakes so that you don't have to, and fluff out.